basketball game. New York, that was where I coached before I came to Tempo, and just to obviously see the fans again. It's a really great arena to play in and see the...
Why does Sandy Brondello have to be such a nice person? Could you imagine? I want to play in New York. Why? They fired me and I want to get revenge. like that would be one of, like, I would love one of these coaches just to be dead serious here. It's like New York, and it's like, well, I mean, they kind of fired me, so I want to take...
What truly separates the Caitlin Clark situation from anything the WNBA has experienced before is this: the scale. The league has had incredible players, champions, MVPs, legends whose impact deserves far more recognition than they ever received. But it has never had a player who could guarantee sellout crowds in virtually every arena she visits. Until now, Caitlin Clark doesn't just draw fans in Indiana. She draws fans everywhere. Her presence alone has been enough to triple television viewership in certain markets. That's not hype, that's data. Last season, the Indiana Fever played 40 games. Out of all those games, only a handful weren't moved to NBA-sized arenas. Teams looked at their schedules, saw Indiana coming, and immediately upgraded venues. Bigger buildings, more seats, higher ticket prices. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because demand forces it. This kind of league-wide adjustment is unprecedented. Sandy Brondello knows exactly what her Toronto Tempo players are walking into when they step inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. 17,000 fans. Noise. Energy. A level of intensity that most WNBA games simply don't have on a nightly basis. And she knows her players want that experience. They want to feel what it's like to play in front of a crowd that big. They want to see how they respond under that kind of pressure. They want to test themselves in an environment that feels closer to playoff basketball than a typical regular season game. That's not about ego. That's about growth. For a new franchise especially, those moments are priceless. They accelerate development. They harden players. They create memories that shape a team's identity. The league has never had a single player force this kind of structural shift before. And that's why the Caitlin Clark conversation feels so different. It's not theoretical. It's visible. It's measurable. And once something like that exists, it changes expectations permanently.
And I think they've got such a big following in this league too. So, you know, our players to go into a very loud arena, I think that will be fun.
And yeah, saying the quiet part out loud, everyone loves to play against Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I absolutely believe it. Like, you, if nothing else, like, you have that game circled in your calendar, whether it be, like, again, as a competitor, whether it be as a, just huge.
That pause said more than the words themselves. It was subtle, but impossible to miss if you were paying attention. When the question came up about potential cities, the answer sounded polished and diplomatic at first. New York was mentioned with all the expected talking points: the fans, the historic arena, the energy of the city. It was the kind of response athletes and coaches are trained to give. Safe, respectful, carefully measured. But then something changed. When she reached the third city on her list, the tone shifted. The delivery was no longer rehearsed. The explanation wasn't wrapped in generic praise. Instead, it carried a level of honesty that cut straight through the usual media language. Sandy Brondello, head coach of the Toronto Tempo, said the quiet part out loud. And in doing so, she exposed something everyone inside the WNBA already understands but rarely admits publicly. Everyone wants to play against Caitlin Clark. Not once. Not accidentally. Not as just another game on the schedule. These are games that players, coaches, and organizations are circling months in advance. These are dates that matter. These are matchups that feel different the moment they're announced. When Indiana comes to town, it isn't just another opponent arriving on a Tuesday night. It's an event. It's an atmosphere. It's a game that carries weight before the opening tip even happens. And Brondello didn't try to downplay that reality. She leaned into it. That honesty matters because it confirms what fans have been watching unfold in real time. Caitlin Clark has become the gravitational center of the league. Whether people want to praise her, challenge her, or prove something against her, the attention follows. And that attention transforms everything around it. Ticket sales spike. Media coverage explodes. Social media discourse lights up. Players feel it. Coaches feel it. Front offices feel it. This isn't about disrespecting other stars in the league. It's not about diminishing champions, MVPs, or veterans who've built the foundation of the WNBA. It's about acknowledging a shift that's already happening. Caitlin Clark represents something new, something the league has never quite experienced in this form before. Brondello's comment wasn't accidental. It wasn't careless. It was deliberate. She understood exactly what she was saying, and more importantly, she understood why it needed to be said. Her expansion team isn't just looking for wins. They're looking for moments. They're looking for exposure. They're looking for environments that feel big, loud, and unforgettable. And right now, no environment in the WNBA delivers that consistently like a game involving Caitlin Clark. That's a reality Brondello acknowledged. And once it was said out loud, it became impossible to pretend otherwise.
You want to play in front of who people believe is the best player in the world, even if you don't believe it. You want to prove you're better than Caitlin Clark. Like, that's what you want to do. Like, to say that players didn't want to play against Michael Jordan is completely wrong. It would be completely wrong. Like, players absolutely did. To say that players, when they come into the league, aren't excited to play against and coach against LeBron, because at the end of the day, like, when you're coming up against a huge team like this, when you're coming up against a huge fan base like this, when you're coming up against a massive audience, Twitter fan base, like, I get it, like, it's not everything, but these players are terminally online. These players and coaches are terminally online. Like, you don't understand. I'm not joking.
And there it was, unfiltered honesty. Not from a player chasing headlines, not from fans stirring debate, but from a head coach who finally said what the entire WNBA has been quietly circling around for the last 2 years. Before anyone twists this into jealousy, disrespect, or controversy, it's important to be absolutely clear about what Sandy Brondello actually said and what she didn't. She wasn't dismissing other teams. She wasn't undermining her own roster. She was listing 3 cities her expansion franchise was genuinely excited to visit. Phoenix, a place deeply tied to her legacy, where she won championships and coached for nearly a decade. New York, where she built professional relationships and credibility long before arriving in Toronto. And then Indiana, not because of geography, history, or convenience, but because of Caitlin Clark. That detail matters. Indiana wasn't mentioned casually. It wasn't framed as just another road game. It was highlighted specifically because of the atmosphere Caitlin Clark creates and the attention she brings with her. That's not shade. That's recognition of reality. Brondello didn't hesitate, didn't soften it, didn't dance around the truth. She acknowledged what everyone in the league already knows. Facing the Indiana Fever right now is a marquee moment. And this shouldn't surprise anyone paying attention. Sandy Brondello has never hidden her admiration for Caitlin Clark. She's spoken publicly about Clark's basketball IQ. She's praised her vision, her confidence, and her ability to elevate everyone around her. She's described her as the type of player any coach would want to build a system around. This wasn't a sudden opinion. It's a consistent one. So when she admits that playing Indiana is a game her expansion team is genuinely excited about, it's not controversial. It's strategic. Expansion teams need visibility. They need moments that matter. They need games that draw attention not just locally, but nationally. Caitlin Clark guarantees that. That's the key point people keep missing. This isn't about ego. It's about opportunity. Indiana games bring packed arenas, national broadcasts, and a level of buzz that most teams simply can't generate on their own. For a brand new franchise trying to establish itself, those games are invaluable. Brondello didn't say Indiana was unbeatable. She didn't say her team was afraid. She said the opposite without directly saying it. These are the games players want. These are the environments they crave. These are the nights where careers feel bigger. Acknowledging Caitlin Clark's impact doesn't diminish anyone else. It simply confirms what the league is experiencing in real time.
Spoken about. I've never spoken about it in a video. I genuinely think I don't even know when I've been blocked by some of them. And some of them aren't even relevant. Like, some of them, if they had a link to, somebody, I can't even remember what the fuck I tweeted. I don't even know what I've said about Becky Hammon. I got blocked by Becky Hammon. I don't even know what I said about her. I can't even remember. But at the end of the day, these players are all...
Here's where the conversation gets even more interesting, because what Brondello described isn't unique to her or to expansion teams. It's not limited to coaches trying to build excitement. This is the universal experience across the WNBA right now, whether people admit it publicly or not. Players want these games. They want to walk into packed arenas. They want to feel that electricity. They want to measure themselves against the player the media has crowned as the face of the league. They want to prove they belong on the same stage. And yes, they want to beat Caitlin Clark and watch the internet explode afterward. That's not disrespect. That's competition in its purest form. This dynamic exists in every major sport. When Michael Jordan dominated the NBA in the 1990s, players weren't avoiding the Bulls. They were circling those games. Young guards dreamed about the night they'd outplay Jordan and announce themselves to the world. That wasn't jealousy. That was ambition. The same thing has followed LeBron James for over 2 decades. Every season, rookies and veterans alike look at the schedule and highlight those Lakers games. They want to test themselves. They want the challenge. They want to say they went head-to-head with greatness and held their own. That's how professional sports work. Elite players don't scare competition, they elevate it. They raise the standard. They force everyone else to sharpen their game. That's why these matchups matter. That's why they are remembered. Caitlin Clark has now entered that space in the WNBA. Players don't just want to play against her. They want to beat her. They want the moment, the clips, the headlines, the reactions, the debates that follow. And pretending otherwise is dishonest. When Indiana loses, the reaction is louder. When Indiana wins, the praise is louder. Every Caitlin Clark game lives in a spotlight that most players in the league have never experienced before. That spotlight is pressure, but it's also opportunity. Some players rise to it. Some resent it. Some enjoy the chaos that comes with it. But no one is ignoring it. That's why Brondello's comments resonated. She didn't say anything radical. She just said it plainly. Caitlin Clark games mean more right now. They carry weight beyond the box score. And whether people love that or hate it, that's the reality of the league today.
But at the end of the day, like, wish she was Caitlin's coach. I don't know. Like, Sandy Brondell hasn't been that great a coach. And, like, we still have, like, you give Stephanie White one more year. Before you turn on Stephanie White, like, you can, like, Stephanie White frustrated me so much. Like, I don't like Stephanie White with Caitlin. But that being said, like, I'm not going to call for her head. Like, I'm not going to go and call for her to be fired. I actually, in fact, think she was closer. She could have won coach of the...
One last piece of this puzzle needs to be said out loud, even if it makes people uncomfortable. These players are extremely online. All of them, coaches included. They see everything. Every tweet, every highlight, every debate, every argument about Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. They're not disconnected from the noise. They're immersed in it. Brondello herself admitted she's been blocked by multiple WNBA players. Some she's never even criticized. That alone tells you how sensitive and reactive the online environment has become. Neutral analysis feels like an attack. Silence feels like judgment. So when the Fever lose a game, you better believe the players who just beat them are checking social media. They see the fan meltdowns. They see Caitlin Clark supporters arguing with each other. They see debates about coaching decisions, rotations, and schemes. And yes, some of them enjoy it. That's part of competition now. Winning isn't just about the scoreboard. It's about the narrative afterward, the reactions, the discourse, the viral moments. Caitlin Clark exists at the center of all of it. Love her or hate her, she drives the conversation. And that's why coaches like Sandy Brondello aren't pretending otherwise anymore. Because pretending doesn't change reality. And right now, reality is simple. The WNBA revolves around Caitlin Clark in a way it never has around any single player before.